Hey there, welcome back. My name is Katie and this is Louisiana Cooking and Living. And today we're going to be doing some more Christmas goodies. And I have them already here for you to see. We're going to be doing peanut butter buckeyes and we're going to be doing some fudge that was a recipe from America's Test Kitchen. And we did some with walnuts and some without, and some with flaky salt and some without. So let's get started. Okay, so we're gonna do our fudge first because it's gonna take much longer to cool and set up than our other dessert we're gonna make. So we have 12 tablespoons of butter in here, and I've just kind of chopped it up into different chunks. And this is gonna be a fudge we're making here. And I will leave a link to the original video with America's Test Kitchen. I did change it up just a tad, but that is the original recipe, came from them, and I'll leave that below in the description box. So we have 12 tablespoons of butter, and to this we're going to add 2/3 of a cup of evaporated milk, not sweetened condensed milk, evaporated milk. To that we're going to add 3 cups of brown sugar, now I made this fudge recipe a couple of weeks ago. I have actually never made fudge in my life, and it's my husband's favorite thing. So I said, I'm gonna try and make it this Christmas for you. So I actually made it a few weeks ago just to try this recipe out. And we used what they recommended, which was bittersweet chocolate. And it was a little bit too bittersweet for him. So today we went with semi-sweet chocolate, and that's what we'll be using today. So we want to bring this to a boil, and we're gonna stir while we're bringing it to a boil. Sorry, my allergies are acting up with me. We had a big temperature drop this past week with some rain. I've been having some allergy symptoms. All right, so we're gonna bring this to a boil over medium-high heat. We don't want this to burn, so we're gonna stir it. And as soon as it comes to a boil, we're gonna turn it down to about a medium-low. We're gonna let it cook for 3 to 5 minutes, or until we get a temperature of 234 to 238 degrees. Now there's lots of mix-in options you could do with fudge. We're gonna add walnuts to the top of half of this. You could do the walnuts in it, you could do pecans, you could do peppermint extract, you could do peanut butter. There's plenty of things you can do to fudge to change it up. But we're going with walnuts this time. I put walnuts in the fudge when I made it a few weeks ago. This time we're just going to put on top a half, in case we have friends that do not want the walnuts. I did not add my salt, so let me go ahead and add my salt. It's a half a teaspoon. All right, I'm gonna turn this down to medium-low now. We're gonna let this simmer for 2 to 3 minutes until we get to that temperature of between 234 and 238. So just so we can see what temperature we're at right now. So we're at 209, 211, so it's coming up. All right, 227. I found when I made it last time, it didn't take the whole 2 to 3 minutes. Or 3 to 5 minutes, I should say. It only took like 2 to 3. When you're taking the temperature of something, you want to make sure the thermometer does not touch the bottom of the pot, because it's going to definitely be hotter down there, and that's not the actual temperature of your food. All right, we're at 230.5, so we have to go up 4 more degrees. All right, so going to turn the burner off now. If you're on an electric stove, remove it from your heat. And then now we're going to add our marshmallows and our chocolate. So let me grab that real quick. We have 5 ounces of marshmallows. And then we have 12 ounces of chopped chocolate. Like I said, the original recipe wanted bittersweet chocolate, but this time we opted for the semi-sweet. So we're going to whisk this for about 2 minutes until it becomes like an icing consistency. I think I was always intimidated by fudge, and that's why I never really made it. But after I made it a few weeks ago, I was like, that was actually really easy. You actually could do almonds and then just some whole marshmallows. It'd be like a Rocky Road fudge. All right, I think we're there. Let me grab my pan real quick. So here we have an 8x8 just square baking pan. I've lined it with parchment. And we're gonna pour all this in. And then I have just some chopped walnuts here. I'm gonna sprinkle over half. And then I have some flaky salt that I'm gonna sprinkle on half this way. So half are plain chocolate with flaky salt and half are walnut with flaky salt. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna leave this on the counter for 2 hours, and then we'll put it in the fridge for 2 hours before we cut it, because you wanna make sure it's good and firm before you go to cut this. And we'll move over to our next dish. Okay, so this next recipe is called Buckeyes, which are a chocolate covered peanut butter ball. And again, I will leave this linked in the bottom in the description box. This recipe comes from Pinterest. And so in our mixer, we are gonna put 2 cups of creamy peanut butter, and they specified not the natural peanut butter because it is gonna be too soft for this recipe. And then half a cup of softened butter. So we're gonna put these 2 things in our mixer and we're gonna beat until well combined. Something that's very hard to work with, but it is so yummy. A few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, if you saw my Reese's extravaganza, I'll leave that linked above here if you're interested in peanut butter kind of recipes. All right, we're gonna beat this up. And then to our mixer here, we are gonna add 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. We're also going to add our 1 1/4 teaspoons of vanilla. And then we're gonna add some salt. It says about 1/4 teaspoon. Mix this up. So next we're gonna add 3 1/4 cups of powdered sugar, just a little bit at a time. So I just grabbed a 1/3 cup out here and I'm just gonna go with this. We just wanna make sure it's fully incorporated. All right, you can see, well, maybe you can't see. This is kind of made like a thicker than a cookie dough consistency. It's almost Play-Doh consistency, which is where we want it because we're gonna form this into balls. And we don't want it to be sticky. All right, if you can see that consistency, it's very dry. That's the way we want it. So what we're gonna do is we have a parchment lined pan. My freezer's side by side, and so it doesn't take big sheet pans. So I'm gonna have to do these in little sheet pans. You're gonna take a tablespoon scooper. Let me just go ahead and scoop out a few of these. And what we're gonna do is we wanna roll them because we wanna make sure they're in balls. And you don't want them sticking to your hands. That's why there's this dry consistency. And then we're gonna put them in the freezer so they're firm and set so that we can dip them in chocolate. So let me get these all rolled out. We're gonna put them in the freezer, let them freeze for about 20 minutes, and then we will melt our chocolate. So our next step is to melt our chocolate coating. I'm using this almond bark. If you were to use chocolate chips, I would add just a touch of shortening or coconut oil to make it a little bit more smooth so it's easier to dip and doesn't clump up as easily. We're gonna melt half of this block of almond bark. Maybe if I can break it in half. There we go. And what I usually do is use a fork or a knife to break this up. We're gonna put this in our measuring cup. We're gonna put this in the microwave and we're gonna melt this on 50% power. If you're using chocolate chips, I'd just do maybe like a minute at a time. This I don't find it needs to be as babied, and I'll do these for 2 minutes at a time. So I'm gonna put this in the microwave and melt them on 50% power for 2 minutes. And then I'll stir it and I'll keep doing that until we're fully melted. So we have our chocolate melted here. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take a toothpick. These are firm because I put them in the freezer to really harden them up good. Oops. We'll drop them in the chocolate. You don't want to coat it all the way, just about like this. Let's see, can you see that? And then we'll drop this on our parchment paper over here. I have a funny story about these. My mom and I would make these when I was a kid, and we coated them all the way. We didn't leave the top open like this. And I'd always just assumed that they were called Buckeyes because they came from Ohio, which is the Buckeye state. And as I was trying to find a recipe, because I did not have my mom's recipe, and I saw the picture of these, I thought, I wonder if they're called Buckeyes because, let me hold this up here. They actually look like deer eyes. If you know the answer to that, let me know, because I don't really know why they're called Buckeyes. Just leave a comment, let us all know. So I'm gonna just dip all these, not covering the whole top. And then what you can go back and do is use your finger. Not sure if you can see this. And just kind of fix that little hole and cover that back up. All right, so I'm gonna get all these chocolate coated, and then we'll have the fudge ready when it's ready, and we are gonna taste test all this. So we got all of our Buckeyes dipped, and our fudge is ready here. So we're gonna pull this out of the pan. The parchment makes it very easy to come out of our pan. And you should get 1-inch squares out of this if you wanted to, you know, get a ruler out. I think they did that on America's Test Kitchen and measure. But we're just gonna eyeball it here. Cuts very smoothly. Maybe they didn't use a ruler. They probably just did like half and half and half again. But I'm just eyeballing it here. Just gonna get a few cut to put on our plate. And cut some of each. Let's have a little plate here. We'll get some of each. So I guess this is our episode of chocolate here. Let's see. Some with salt, some without, some with nuts, some without. Kind of some of each here. That one wants to fall. Of course, we're gonna get the pretty ones out for us, right? Alrighty, I think we're gonna taste test and see how we did. All right, so here's our plate. Don't they look so good? Let's get a taste test. All right, the peanut butter's gonna be my favorite, I know it. If you watch that Reese's extravaganza, you know that peanut butter and chocolate are my favorites. Well, let's give this fudge a taste. That peanut butter is so rich. I'm gonna grab the ones with walnuts and a little bit of salt. That's what I'm gonna try. I think my husband's gonna be very happy with that one. The bittersweet that we had done before, like I said, was just not quite what it needed to be. The semi-sweet is perfect, I think. But I'm not the fudge fan, he is, and we'll let him decide. So I hope you give these recipes a try. And so what I'm gonna do is I have a Christmas playlist going. I have lots of goodies I made last year for you guys. So the playlist will have those videos in it. We made peanut brittle and peanut clusters and tiger butter. I'm trying to think of everything. We made pralines. We made a whole bunch of different things last year. So I'm gonna have a playlist. I think they'll pop up on this side of the screen. And some breakfast that we did last year. This year we're gonna be doing some breakfasts. So ideas for Christmas morning. So you can check all those out. And if you haven't subscribed already, my subscribe button will pop up on this side of the screen and you can hit subscribe and find all my videos very quickly. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.